Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU. It's another episode, and it is another reason to love your HBCU. I'm joined today with Jeremiah Woods by way of Hampton University. So Jeremiah, anyone who's watching me, you're going to notice Jeremiah has orange and blue on. He's got the little polo for the blue and the orange. Even though I cautioned myself before he starts that I'm not going to say Virginia State, I almost said it. That's why I stumbled. Jeremiah Woods is coming to us from Hampton University.
Yeah.
And I happen to be representing Hampton colors today. I'm just realizing that myself.
You are.
Jeremiah, how are you?
Pretty great. I am excited, ready for our conversation.
I'm looking forward to it as well. You wear quite a few interesting hats here that always excite me. You're into youth political organization and activities. You are the NAACP Youth and College Division Chair for the Political Action Committee. Is that accurate?
Yeah,
and I actually want us to get I told myself I was going to go straight to it. People think I love to talk politics. I actually just love to talk all things. So before I get into what that means for those who do not know what it means, what a political action committee means, I want us to just get to know you, Jeremiah Woods. So Jeremiah, you are a history major.
I am.
Why history?
It's a great question. So I don't know what it is, but I just love history. I love all types of history. Before, African American history is my number one. That's my dope of history. But I would say, even before, I was in love with medieval history. I was in love with Renaissance history. I just love history. I remember when I was a little kid, and YouTube was just becoming I don't know if it was just becoming a thing or if it was becoming prominent. It was more prominent than TikTok right now. And I would watch videos of Harriet Tubman animations, and I just love history, and everything. Honestly, to be truthful, everything is history. Politics is history, because at the end of the day, if you don't know history, it will repeat itself as it is right now in our country. So I know I'm trying to say with some politics right now, but that's it's the situation, and we don't know our history, and because we don't know our history, we're repeating it as we speak.
I wish when I was younger, so my two worst subjects when I was younger was mathematics, and by way of mathematics, also accounting. Yeah. And when my mother sees this, she's going to literally roll her eyes because she is an accountant and she wanted me to be one. And I tell the story and it's true. I failed my accounting entrance exam so that I would not have to be an accountant. Wow. So anything to do with numbers, not my best subject. And history was my second worst subject as well, Jeremiah.
Really?
I wish it was, but I wish somebody had couched it. I wrote down what you just said. You said everything is history.
It is.
And when I think about that, you are 1,000% accurate. And I wish instead of them throwing all these dates that they needed me to memorize when I was younger, I wish they had just given me stories. I love stories. I love documentaries now, right? And isn't that history? Isn't that the capturing of history in real time? I wish that's the way that was introduced to me, which it brings me to the realization that how we introduce things to kids really, really matters because it will impact how they relate with those things later on in life. So as somebody who is a history lover, a history buff, you're not ready for this question, Jeremiah. You're not ready for this question. What do you think history is going to say about 47 down the road?
First, I would say he's taking up all the pages in all the history books right now. Well, That's a great question. It's actually a great question. So they're gonna say horrible things about him. I believe he is really destroying our country, and I'm not saying that out of a political opinion. I'm saying that out of fact. He's destroying our country, and 47 is a. I try to be careful because I don't want to, But at the end of the day, he's he's racist. He's misogynistic. He doesn't know. I mean, even before he was elected, he was known for, I believe it was the New York Five, trying to get them executed or some. He's a racist, and people think he's not, but he's a racist, and that's going to be in the history book. He's going to be in the history book as a racist, someone who destroyed our economy, someone who destroyed our relationships with our allies, our closest allies, someone who brought us an unnecessary war, and a wannabe dictator. But I believe our country is not going to allow that. Thankfully. So,
What is your immediate reaction to a statement like this? History is going to record 47 as one of the most impactful presidents of the United States of America. What's your immediate reaction to that statement?
so immediately I'll go on the fence and be like, no, absolutely not. But he will be. He will be. He will be known, even if it's in a negative way. I mean, I read this one book, and I'm not trying to endorse anybody's book, but it's called American White Lash. And the book is about how after the Obama administration, was finished with what they did after Obama won, racism spiked up. And I don't know if you noticed, but whenever Trump won, most of his campaign strategy was just racist, misogynistic, and hateful rhetoric. And it was because of that American white lash of, certain white people feeling afraid or threatened, and they felt they had to take back their country. And so that's why we are where we are right now. And he's very impactful in a negative way because he controls the Republican Party, but other people want to believe it, and they control the entire government right now. So he can do whatever he wants to do, however he wants to do.
You are a young Black male attending a historically Black college, Hampton University in Virginia. I wonder what your reflection is on the argued reality that 47 isn't the problem. You just mentioned a slew of things that you have observed with regards to what the post-Obama presidency and the 45 insertion into presidency caused the nation. Is it reflective of the country as a whole? Because, and the reason why I paused as I phrased my query is this: we because whether we like it or not, I like to joke and say he's not my president, whether I like it or not. If I'm in the United States of America and I am an American, he is my president. So you've got him in 45 and you've got him in 47 as our 45th and 47th president. Is this indicative of more than just him? Because the reality is, to everything you said, he cannot do it alone. And to everything you said, there is a slew, millions of human beings that have to make that a reality. So I want your take as a young Black man who is going to live in this country and impact this country in his own way through political action. It's something you're passionate about. What does this say about the country that you are in?
So before I went to this year, this semester I attended Hampton University. Last semester I was at the Virginia Military Institute, a predominantly white school. And I remember it like yesterday. I was laying down in my room, and the way that our school, or the military school that I went to, we have about 4 people in the same room. It's like a military environment. And I was up all night. I could not sleep the night of the election. And as opened my phone, looked at it, and I don't know what state it was, but they said that this state is projected to be given to Trump. And at that moment, I was like, me being a political, I like to politically analyze things. I know that she lost at that point, at that moment after she lost a certain state. Um, and my reaction, one of my roommates was like, "I'm sorry, Jeremiah. I know you wanted her to win," and I'm like, "It's not even that she lost. That she lost. For me, it's that he got elected again, and it's not that Trump got elected. Trump is going to be Trump, regardless. It's he got elected again. That means that majority of the country, or more than half of the country, have to say, I want a racist, misogynistic, homophobic person in office again." And he gave you the plan. He gave you what he's going. He told you everything he's going to do. Project 2025 laid out everything he's going to do. He's doing it. He's doing everything that he said he was going to do. He lied about a couple of things, but the good stuff, like no wars. But when it comes to the racist plan that he had, the Project 2025, he's living that. And so, for me, for him to have promoted that plan, or associated with that plan, and I felt disrespected as a Black American that our country voted for him again after what he did in his last term of office.
So your generation, and this happens every 10 years, right? Your generation is who we all have to look to, whether we like it or not, to express and engage and execute. Um, on the other side of the rapid fire segment, I'm going to ask you what that looks like for your generation. So right now, I'm going to take a quick minute. I can tell our conversation is going to be pretty much about politics.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to, insert a few other things along the way. And I want to treat you to our rapid fire segment. I'm going to ask you as many questions as I possibly can in 67 seconds or less. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Jeremiah, describe yourself in 3 words.
Passionate, motivated, and I should say faithful. I'm a Christian, faithful.
Passionate, motivated, faithful. Jeremiah, you're at your college graduation. Who do you want as the commencement speaker?
Barack Obama or Kamala Harris, or Barack Obama.
Barack Obama or Kamala Harris, but he went back to Barack Obama.
Yeah.
What's now that you've experienced 2 different types of institutions, what's your unpopular opinion about HBCUs?
Good or bad? Probably like good, unpopular opinion. Oh, this is hard. I would say I don't know. I don't know.
It's rapid. Okay, no worries. So, if your time in college so far was a song, what song would it be?
Change is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke, I believe. Yeah, I something that.
Change is going to come. I love that. Shout out your favorite professor or person at Hampton University.
My favorite person as of right now at Hampton University, so I have Ian Colbert, he's one of my friends in band. I have a few people, and then I have Dr. Porter, who is one of my professors, or I should say Dr. Watson or Dr. Tucker. Those 3 people.
I love it. You've got options. Like you just kept going.
I do.
Options. I absolutely love it. Okay. And the time's up, which is good. But I want to ask one more question because I don't think we get to hear enough of our young humans when it comes to their experiences on their campuses in a direct way. If you had a message for your university president, if you haven't already shared it with that person, what message would you share with your university president?
I would say leaders are created. Leaders are created when they're given opportunities to be leaders. That means allowing the school to be run completely by the students. For the students. I know looking at places like FSU, Florida State University, I mean, they are a prime example of students running an institution. All the student fees are underneath the student government. And that student government association runs as if they're running an actual country or an actual city, because they are. Your elected peers should be the people who lead you, not just photo walk and photo walk. So my president to President Williams would be to allow students to be leaders by not saying that they're going to be leaders one day, but being the leaders today, right now. So,
I've got a lot of questions for you based on that. But before I ask that, you are from Florida. You're from Tampa, Florida, right?
yes, ma'am.
And you are in Virginia at Hampton University, and we've just heard you say that you're freshly at Virginia, which means that you were
Mm,
at a military institution prior to. Give me your college selection journey. Why Hampton University? Between
mm,
Florida and Virginia, you passed so many HBCUs along the
and,
way. Give me
um,
your college selection journey. Your first college and then Hampton.
okay, so the Virginia Military Institute is a college in the middle of the mountains of Virginia, Lexington, Virginia. I'm from Tampa, Florida. Was not planning on ever going there any time. So my original plan was to go to Hawaii University. I really enjoyed. I love the beach. I love the sun. I'm born and raised. I'm like 5, 10 generations. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know like the history of my family, but we're deep in Florida. And Tampa, Florida specifically. Both sides of my family are from Tampa, Florida. And I love the sun. I love palm trees. I love feeling like I love going to class and feeling like I am tropical, you know? And so I originally planned to go to Hawaii University, but I went to a college fair called the Avid Fair. It's a program in Florida. I don't know, maybe in other states, but the program is designed to prepare students for college. I wasn't in the program, but I was the president of a club where the sponsor of the program was the sponsor of my club. And so she invited me to the college fair, and the first desk when you walk into the college fair was the Virginia Military Institute, VMI. I went up to them, they sound great, and they say you got to call all your hair off, and then on top of that, you got to go get yelled at for a whole 6 months. I'm like, that's not going to happen. Thank you, and I will see y'all never again. Obviously, I was like, I want to come back. It's like I'm interested, but you're not really interested. I'm not coming back. But then they called me. After that point on, they called me every single week, asking me how my week was going. And I was like, wow, this is no other college is doing this. And eventually they said they could give me a full ride scholarship. They got me a full ride scholarship. And I decided to go to VMI. Like I say in the middle of the summertime, I decided to go to VMI. And I was not prepared for what I was going to be given. I mean, it's a military school. So you have like a 6-month boot camp in a way. And you're getting yelled at by your peers. And then, it's definitely great for, I would say, although I've had my situations at VMI, it's definitely good for discipline, and setting goals and things like that. And so eventually the school was not compatible to an African-American like myself. And so what I decided to do was leave out of my safety. And I was like, I want to stay in Virginia, but I want the rest of my college experience to be great. I want to be surrounded by people who look like me, people who have the same motivations as me. And when I said the same motivations as me, I wasn't even thinking at the moment African Americans or Black people. I was thinking people with the same ambitions, political ambitions, whatever those ambitions may be, youth empowerment, whatever they may be. And one of my, greatest mentors, Galen Knoyton, she's the vice president of the NACP state, the Virginia State Conference. She's a Hampton alum. And she was like, I can try to, talk to see where we can get you to go. And I was like, well, either Hampton or Virginia State University. And she said, I can try to help you. Yeah, we can help you go through the process of getting to Hampton University. I apply to Hampton University. I get in, and I love it. Like and then on top of like one of the other reasons I like it reminds me of home. the waterfront view, and it just reminds me of just I feel comfortable in this environment. So,
I love listening to your story. Your story tells me connection is extremely important. Um, the fact that you said no initially, because how is that an engaging pitch?
it
Boot
is
camp for 6 months and you're going to get yelled at. That's not a
good.
pitch for anybody to go anywhere. But then the connection and the care of them calling you every single week thereafter makes you, everyone wants to feel wanted. Everyone wants to feel as if they belong somewhere. Now, when you get there, it might be a totally different story.
Right.
However, I think it's a great message that we should genuinely want to show people that they belong with us, and then it's up to them for
Good.
them to find their fit. I love that. Jeremiah, if you were talking to a high schooler back
Good.
in Florida, back at that program, and you were giving them the key reason why they must pick Hampton University to go to college, what would you say to them?
I would say first, I would say college isn't just about the educational experience. It's about college is about network. You can be in class sitting next to a multimillionaire doctor in the future, and you don't even know it. You can be sitting next to the next president of the United States. You wouldn't even know it. So
Yeah.
it's more about network. You have to figure out what network will be willing to help you out the most. And I would say choose something because their network is strong. And it's not just about empowering Hampton alums and Hampton University. It's about empowering our community, our Black community.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. I wish more and more of our current generation
Mhm.
would understand that networking across
Mhm.
is probably, I would say, more important nowadays than networking above, because you
Right.
you really don't know where this person is going to end up, and
Mhm.
staying friends with them. As I'm talking, I'm remembering Ryan Coogler. I can't remember the name of his Swedish a creative partner. I don't know if it's a producer or a director or cinematographer, but there's a friend of his that they went to college together, and they have remained friends since. They've worked on every major project
Oh,
together. And it was
wow.
purely based on Ryan talking about his like of I'm going to get her name wrong. I know her music. It's Lykke. I don't pronounce it well, so I'm not going to say it, but she has a song, she has music that I love, and Ryan Coogler connected with this creative partner of his based on that same music. Who wouldn't want to be connected to Ryan Coogler today if you went to college
Mhm.
with him? So I,
Right.
I love the statement that you made. Your classmate is the next person to know. Why not build the
Good.
relationship with them now? Now, Jeremiah, if you ran into, which you do all the time, an HBCU student who's like, hey, what's a political action committee? What does that, we hear about PACs and super PACs all the
Mhm.
time in language that anybody at an HBCU would understand. What does that mean? What do you do? What does it stand for?
So the Political Action Committee is PAC. The goal of the Political Action Committee, at least speaking for the Virginia State Conference Youth and College Division of the NAACP, the goal of the PAC is to advocate for legislation, voter rights, and ultimately po- um, political participation that advances colored people. The goal of the PAC is some PACs may give money and donate to certain organizations, but we don't endorse with the NAACP. We're nonpartisan. Um, but we advocate. We hold both Democrats and mostly Republicans accountable for the actions that they have or impose on Black people.
Did you know that you smiled when you said we hold Democrats, mostly Republicans? Did you know
Yeah,
that you smiled?
I try not. I try to. I try to be
So
as nonpartisan as possible. But
So I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there
Right.
because of the smile, right? I get this as
Right.
well. I'm an independent. I'm a true
Mhm.
independent. I truly vote issues, not party, because so many reasons to give.
Right.
Because of the statement you made, I have to ask you, what's your reaction to people who say that organizations like the NAACP, primarily because they're representative of African American people, truly only advocate or only hold to the fire Republicans as opposed to an equal share of holding to
Mhm.
the fire Republicans and Democrats? What's your honest response to that? Because they get a lot of criticism of not being as
Mhm.
nonpartisan as they like to claim that they are.
Okay. Right. So, I'm not a spokesperson for the NACP,
Of
but I
course.
will say personally, we have to think about, like you said, issue based. What
Mm,
party, as of right now, as it stands, because parties switch up every now and then, what party, as it stands, supports government programs? And then think about what those government programs, who those government programs affect, what communities those programs affect. Honestly, they even think about issues. Let's talk about the current Republican administration, the current Trump administration. Trump is slashing all types of DEI related organized. We had the Reconstruction period, the Civil Rights era, and now we are in the DEI era. He is slashing. That's just like a little brief of our Black history in America. But he's slashing DEI programs. DEI programs are not made to keep white people down. They're made to help everybody become equal, have equal access to success. It's not about giving people, think about another thing. We had the most recent situation, the UN. The UN voted to say that slavery was one of the most gruesome sins in history. Why was the United States one of three that voted against that resolution? And for me, it's like it's all about the proof is in the pudding. And the proof is the Democrat Party is not the party right now that's trying to make it hard to vote. It's the Republican Party. It's not the Democratic Party that's slashing DEI programs. It's the Republican Party. Whether they may say MAGA or not, it's the Republican Party. They're in charge. They control the Supreme Court. They control, you know, the the Congress and the White House. And so it's all about the proof in the pudding. It's all about looking and seeing like what programs help actually help people of color and what programs are hurting people of color. And one last thing, like SNAP benefits. That program, you know, it doesn't just help Black people, but it helps people of color.
yeah, it helps.
So,
It actually, I don't even think it just helps people, and I'm not advocating one way or another,
so
honestly,
the
but it doesn't just help people of color. It helps people at a certain socioeconomic status. And that might be the better argument, I would say,
the
with a
but
lot of our programs. I'm not saying your argument, I'm saying the argument I would make with regards to a lot of our programs, that it really, if we took race off the
right,
table and you look at who benefits most, it's a socioeconomic level at which people have a need that not everybody else has a need. I want to come back to a statement you made earlier when I had asked you the last rapid fire question about what you would say to your president. And you paused and then you said, leaders, and in your case, students should be allowed to lead now. And I don't know
mm,
much about FSU, Florida State University Student Government
mm,
Association, but I want to do the research because if what you're saying is accurate, I actually think that's pretty impressive, to be extremely honest
mm,
with you, because I have my own thoughts on how SGA is conducted on several HBCU campuses. And we might get to that in a hot second because, hey, who
right,
doesn't like a little controversy every now
right,
and
right,
then?
right, right.
But to the statement that you'd make to your president, and I'm going to take your president out of the conversation and just say it's a statement that you're making to current leaders
to
that
be
they should let the young people not lead tomorrow, but lead now.
today.
What is
But
your take for those who keep on saying you're not ready? Number one. Number two, you don't know what you're talking about. What's your response to people who say that?
so I am the new president of an organization. Well, so Birds of Tomorrow is the largest Gen Z civic engagement organization in the entire country. We have chapters in 20 different states. We have the 21st chapter we have right now is the chapter that I am now the president of, the Florida chapter. And one of the things that, you know, I've always been told, I've always been passionate about trying to become something. Like is here's a great example. So separate from the Birds of Tomorrow, I was ordained or licensed as a minister at the age of 16 years old. I was the youngest, the only teenager, the only child to be licensed at my church out of a group of very older men and women. And I was assigned over the youth ministry, and they put me as the youth pastor over, the youth ministry. I revamped it, whatever I called it, the Gen Z ministry. And a lot of the congregation were saying he's too young, he's not ready. And my question is always, if I'm not ready now, when will I be ready to you? Do I have to wait till somebody passes away for me to be ready? Do I have to wait for somebody to retire for me to have a chance? At that point, there'll be an entire new, there's already a new generation, Gen Alpha, and they're very advanced. They've grown up with technology. Like we've grown up with technology, but they've grown up with technology. So like they know how to talk to Siri at the age of 3 years old. And so my concern and my question is always, if I'm not ready now, when will I be ready? And if it's not now, and then people always say, well, you don't know how government works. You learn how government works in school. We don't know how the politics works on a personal level, but that's all about experience. So, and it's actually a topic of concern, very controversial topic right now in Tampa. Nia Young, not endorsing candidates, but Nia Young is the city council member replacing in the special election. She won. She's a young lady, and she ran against a city council member who was primarily of older age, but he was a city council member before, and he had a lot of support from the older saints. And one of the things that I said, I was like, I think we have to, there's a certain point in this day and age where you have to let go and let the younger generation run. That's one of the topics of concern that my generation is having right now as we speak is we need term limits. There's no reason that we have 90-year-olds in Congress. And so I just, like I said, so to answer your question, I went on a tangent. But to answer your question, if we're not ready now, when will we be ready? And if we're not, we're happy to wait till somebody else to step down or passes away or retire. We're not going to get anywhere in this country. We're going to be making policies that they're going to make and pass policies that don't affect them ever. We're not going to be here to see the effects of it.
Is that also your response to when they say you don't know what you're talking about?
My response would be no. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm. You don't see the thing about government. Government is not designed for one group of people. It's designed for the people. The people can be an 80-year-old on retirement benefits or a 20-year-old like myself out of college. We all have a voice in our government. We all have a voice, and there's a certain point where you have to think what's going to affect the majority of the people. And I just always concern I'm always have. My age should not be a concern when it comes to civic engagement, because that makes people like myself they get disencouraged to be politically engaged. So now you have a crisis of people who don't think that their voice matters and their vote doesn't
Absolutely.
count. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in right now in this country.
As literally as you were saying that, when people make those types of statements, it is what leads to the crisis of your generation being
Mhm.
apathetic. It's reminding me of, gosh, I don't know why I'm forgetting her name. She Texas. She just ran for office in Texas and lost to the gentleman. I'm not good with names, but she was on her campaign and she ran into a young person who said, "I don't do politics," and her
Mhm.
response was, "Well, politics does you." And that, to me, that could not be that is the most accurate statement anyone can make. And I think you do a better job of describing the reality that government is all of us. It's quite
Mhm.
literally all of us. And because it is all of us, it not only has to be representative of all of us, it is going to affect all of us. So to the young ones out there who say they don't do politics, I used to be in the group that used to blame them
Mhm.
when they said they don't do politics. But I'm grateful that I've gotten to speak to more Jeremiah Woodses of the world. And in speaking to the yous of the world, I am learning and observing, well, if you keep on telling me I'm too young, if you keep on telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just going to leave you alone and go and do my own thing. And that then leaves me out of the conversation. So I'm grateful for people like you and Voters for Tomorrow who are re engaging and saying, wait, hold on. We still need to fight the narrative that they're placing upon us about us being too young. I must, again, I don't endorse anybody, but
Mhm.
I was writing down the two young people that I know, and I'm missing one, Kaya in North Carolina, from
Mhm.
North Carolina A&T. If I'm not, do you know who I'm speaking of?
I do know. I know all the
I
Gen Z people who are running.
I love it. Listen, you and I, I'm not Gen Z, but listen, that's who I relate with on those days. So there's Jaden Williams, who became
Mhm.
the mayor of Stockbridge, Georgia, in the last election. And you definitely then know of Rebecca Pierce, who is currently
Mhm.
running for mayor of Bowie, Maryland.
Mhm.
And to all of them, I really do hope that your generation, every generation, looks to
Yeah.
them and supports them in whatever their endeavors are with regards to civic engagement work. Because it, the other name that comes to mind is Clyburn. And
Mhm.
Clyburn, who has, if the reports are correct, he was going to give up his seat. What did he decide not too long ago? He's not giving up his seat. I am not
Mhm.
being ageist, but I think he's 83, if
Right.
I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Come on, people.
Right.
I'm quoting
It's concerning.
Jeremiah Wood. When Jeremiah Wood said, "Do I have to wait for you to die
Right.
before we take on these other roles in society?" Jeremiah, what do you say to your generation then, not to get discouraged when they are constantly not being invited to get their voice heard in the necessary rooms and spaces where it is important for us to hear your voice? What do you say?
There's two things. The first thing, one of my favorite songs, actually, not one of my favorite songs, one of the favorite songs, one of my favorite albums, the Hamilton musical.
Okay.
Um, uh, the room where it happens, where Aaron Burr is shut out the door, and where all the vice president, Thomas Jefferson, and Hamilton are talking about plans that where to put the American bank, and Aaron Burr is like, I just want to be in the room where it happens, and it's always about like that's like. And the second thing that I have to say to that, the answer to Aaron Burr's problem is Shirley Chisholm. Can never
Yes,
pronounce her
Charlie
name.
Chatham, yes.
Um, she said, if they don't allow you to come to something like this, if they don't allow you to come to the table, bring your own chair. And I always have to say, if they don't allow you to bring your own chair, bring an entire table, and bring your own guests as well. And that's ultimately what civic organizing is. They're not going to let you come at the table. They have power, they have money. They don't want to give that up. And they think that we're ignorant or we're too young. But something you have to bring your own table. But all that matters is we're going into the ring, being in the room where it happens, bringing your own table and bringing other guests that look like you or young as you, or young just like you, to be in the same room. So even though you're at the dinner table, when they speak, you can speak louder and say, "Hey, we're here too. We're in the room. We want carrots in our plates as well." So I
So,
would say bring your own table.
He said bring your own table. According to you, Jeremiah, and this is not a shameless plug. This is our second year doing it. We have a summit called Generation Next Thought Leaders, and
Yeah,
it is literally, as far as I know, the only summit in the country that gives the mic to your generation to speak their
true,
minds on panels,
true.
without a quote unquote expert on the panel with you. No, you are the experts in the room.
But
And I kind of am giving ourselves a quick little pat on the shoulder, because that means we are doing what your generation is asking to be done, and
good,
that is build the tables for the voices that are not being included in those other rooms to be heard. And I hope more and more of us do that as opposed to
well,
waiting. Do you think our HBCU campuses are doing enough to encourage the type of civic engagement that you're saying more and more of our generations, or your generations rather, should be encouraged to partake in? Are we doing enough?
I can't speak on behalf of the other HBCUs, but I can say Hampton University is making great efforts. I don't know if you saw the news recently, but they established well, I should say they're doing great, and there's another thing I'm concerned about. One of the things they're doing great in is civic engagement portion. Hampton University recently established the first ever voter precinct for the HBCUs, an all-campus voter precinct. And this is something that I'm actually working on with a few people in the NACP, is establishing writing legislation that's going to establish voter precincts on all college campuses.
Yes.
But that's something that Hampton itself has made an example and a foundation for other colleges. And the next thing I would say is Hampton University has a a civic engagement campaign where they're trying to get people out to vote and promoting them to our, so I say encouraging them to vote. Now the downfall, not of that, but where I see at Hampton is, like I said, student leadership. Now that we're not just vote. And this is something that we have in the Black community as well. They see us as votes, but now we in the Democratic Party, we have a lot of, and we are their main voter base, but we don't have a lot of Black representation. And this is a problem, and it's the same for youth as well. We are huge voter base, a huge voter base. We deserve to have leadership in those spaces that the people who we vote for. And so I would say to Hampton University is like, we have the civic engagement portion down, and let's actually give power to the students. Let's allow them to run their school. Let's allow them to have decisions. Our decisions, have them, I was going to scratch that, but allow them to be a part of the management of the school, so that they can learn how to be a leader. So we can learn how to be, great. Justin, great.
My producer just said, "Hey, you've got 5 more minutes." I want to have a follow-up conversation with you at some point in time, because I am interested. Each time I hear you say allow the students to really lead and allow the students to have decision-making power, is what I think you were on your way to saying. I am curious with regards to what that actually looks like, because as you know, every HBCU campus has got a student government association.
True.
I've heard from a lot of HBCU students quite recently that, in all fairness, it's just a popularity vote. And because of that, they don't actually take student government associations seriously anymore.
Mhm.
So, what should the revamping, if you will, of student government association look like? And you don't have to answer this question, but that's the question that came to my mind when I was at a conference not too long ago, and it was mostly HBCUs in the room, and that was the major complaint, that I'm not even voting, but the SGA elections are going on right now, and I'm not even voting because it's just a popularity vote, number one. And the number two accusation is, you know, that if you belong to any of the Greek letter organizations, chances are you're going to beat out the next person running against you. And so it
Literally.
makes it all a farce, for lack of a better word. So I'm curious if the Jeremiah Woodses of the world and the Tosins who care about student government association truly being a replica of student power, come
Right.
together and suggest a revamping of what SGA can look like on some HBCU campuses, because I'm sure this isn't true for every HBCU campus, but some HBCU campuses. I think that's a worthy task to take on, Jeremiah, because
Good.
have you heard the things that I just mentioned, or is this news to you
No,
that it's a popularity vote for most of the
no,
SGA positions?
no. And I think, to answer your question, a great role model in this is FSU. Like, FSU controls
Wow.
millions of dollars. All the student fees goes towards SGA. They have, they're so powerful that they have to have political parties. They have different political parties, which each political party puts up their own candidate for their own senate and for their own, executive positions to run their school. And I
Interesting.
that's the great model that you need to have. You need to give, well, how do they have power? Money. Give the money that we pay for our event,
Yeah.
our fees, to be controlled by our own people, our own voices. So,
Jeremiah Woods, you and I can clearly shoot. I told you, let's talk like we're having coffee. I'm having tea.
the
And you and
right,
I can clearly continue to shoot the breeze on very important subject matters for at least another hour to come. Is
right,
there something that I have not brought up that you're like, you know what, Tosin, I have to share this with your audience before I go?
mhm,
What would that be?
been waiting. I would say, um, to every single little child, not the teenagers and below, if you want to receive, if you want to become something, you want to become anything. You're passionate about something, you want to become something. If you believe in something, you have to fight for it. You have to fight for it. It's not going to be given to you. I mean, that's cliche. It's not going to be given to you. But the people who are currently in power are not going to give it up. And Jizzy, we've grown up in a very political, tense environment. Like, we've grown up during school shootings. It's been a very we've been very politically engaged from the very beginning. We're falling off, but it's also about, if you don't let up, if you don't quit, that power will be given to you. But it's all about not quitting, mobilizing, and just fighting for what you believe. So,
Jeremiah Woods, I sincerely appreciate you being my guest today. It is, guys, if you are at Hampton, if you are at any of the HBCUs in the country, and you go to any of your sources for podcasts, I love my HBC, YOU, question mark. This episode, particularly, I need you to hear Jeremiah Woods when he calls for you not to let up on what it is you believe in. It is impossible for you not to like this episode because of him. I hope I have done my due diligence to have you subscribing to I Love My HBCU question mark wherever you get your podcasts. Jeremiah Woods, before you go, end this episode for me in one word or short phrase. Why do you love HBCUs?
black excellence,
He said
black
black
excellence.
excellence.
be
He said
surrounded
my
by it every day.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Listen, thank you so much. And to everybody
Thank you.
watching, yours in HBCU love. See you next episode. Thanks, Jeremiah. You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.